So can your teen, or actually any one of us, get a college degree or get a college level education free of charge without ever paying a tuition bill to one of our big giant institutions? That's what I wanted to find out, and I went on and explored to do this using tools like ChatGPT, other AI engines would work, but I use Chat, and then Coursera and some free tools. So we want to go through that. So look, I'm Dale Callahan. I'm an engineering professor, homeschool dad, and entrepreneur. I spend a lot of time with social media, with Coursera and tools like this, looking for and experimenting with things to do. My focus is helping people grow, helping people to be more successful at what they do. So in this, we want you to be able to help your kids at least see what the options are, or maybe for some of us adults that we want to go back and learn and get educated. So one of the things we have to first realize, so let's step back for just a minute, and before we dive into this, I'm going to show this to you. Is what does a university offer? Now, I'm a university professor, so I'm not anti-university. What I think we do is add value. At least we try to. I do see the model changing rapidly. As a matter of fact, it's changing so rapidly, most people at the university don't see it. But that's normal. We oftentimes are blind to what's killing our industry. So let's talk about what a university does offer you. If you're looking at sending your kids to university, they're looking at doing it, you're looking at doing it yourself. In reality, when you take away the gaming and the fun stuff, right? And if that's what you're going for, then well, okay, then go for the fun stuff. Spend 80 to $100,000 for fun stuff. Think about what you're doing here. But there are three things that you really get from the college education is number one is a plan. You get a structured path of what to study, when in the order of operations, right? I need to study this first. I need to study accounting one before I study accounting two. And here's how these things should fit together. And by the time I've studied all this, I know what is in a degree for accounting or business or engineering or computer science, whatever it is. So a plan, and a plan is important because if you're just sitting here on YouTube, uh, bounding around or out there in some, with a stack of books and you walk into a library, you have no plan, right? You have lots of information and we have a lot of information these days. We have tons of information, but you need a plan. So in creating a plan, that's the first thing the college is going to do for you. The second thing it's going to do for you is generate some accountability. Now, the beautiful thing or the terrible thing about the university is they have semesters for the most part. It used to be semesters and quarters, but we are seeing mostly semesters right now. That you sign up for a course, it has a deadline, it has a grade, it has assignments with deadlines, and you keep moving. You either pass, you fail, wherever you are. Right. So you have deadlines, and the deadlines that are hard and fast are the accountability. So whether your professor provides you any feedback or not, you have a deadline. The third thing you get from the university is credibility, is you get a piece of paper with a degree on it, right? That's from big fat name university, and that's has some credibility in the market, depending on the market, depending on lots of things. It used to have an incredible amount of credibility. So that's what the college is offering you, is the college is offering you a plan of study, and they're offering you a accountability that you've got to be done when you're done, and of course a credential. That's it. So think about that for just a minute. That's all that you get. Um, you're not getting the popcorn and everything else too. I mean, everything else that's offered at the university, there's a couple other nuances here, and we'll talk about those in the plan that I generate. But a lot of the other stuff that we see at the university is just fun. People say, I get to grow up, I get to do these kind of things. And you can argue whether any of that's true. But the my main point here is what the university is really selling is none of this is magic. A plan, accountability, and credibility is not magic. So what I wanted to do was just do this experiment where I could say with tools like AI. And by the way, the AI is important here, but it's not critical. The tools have always been around. We've always had libraries. And recently, for recently is a long time, but recently we have had tools like YouTube and things that have just unlimited amount of information, or at least feels that way. But now if we take and mix AI in the mix what I want to get. So what I was wanting to do is I first played around the other day with accounting. If I wanted to get the same education as an accounting major at a major university, could ChatGPT build me that plan? So ChatGPT being, the primary, at least for many of us, the primary AI tool out there. And could it give me everything that really matters? So I mean more than just the classroom stuff. It surprised me. It surprised me because it gave me not only the courses, it gave me how to start making money early, what we might call internships or other things at the university to get experience because that's what I want. You want not just the courses, you want the ways to get experience that you might or might not get at a university. So I ask everything else. Said, hey, what else can you give me? Networking opportunities, internships, career connection, mentorships, ideas. And you know what? Can you do that and mimic the college experience? Now let's be fair. Johnny and Susie might go to big university and just sit there and take courses and hang out with friends and do fun stuff and never get networking, internship, career connections, or mentorship. Never. Because many students that show up at a university don't take advantage of these things. They don't even talk to faculty members. They go to class, they take notes, they take the test, and they have minimal conversations with faculty members except where forced. That's actually fairly typical. It's probably the 10, maybe 20% of the students that interact and really take advantage of networking, internships, career connections, and mentorships. They're missing out, but that's just faculty, no matter where, they'll tell you that that's just a typical thing. So I wanted to mimic that. So here's what I learned, and I'm just going to show you is could I get a real degree? So I'm going to, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you this prompt that I use. So let me go over here to a new screen and just let me share what we did. We don't want that. We want right there. So here I am. I am in ChatGPT. So let me go to the top and just see. I want to build my self-directed degree. Now I'm going to give you the script, so don't worry about it. But here's what I want you to include: core knowledge and skills, and career guidance and mentorship, etc. Practical projects and portfolio, funding, early income opportunities, feedback and accountability, capstone and graduation plan, and so forget all this stuff that it's just generating. What I came down here and said at some point is create a degree in electrical engineering. So the other day I did accounting. I'm just doing electrical engineering now. So what it's doing now is it's creating stage one, the foundations. Notice 3 to 4 months of activity at 8 to 10 hours a week. So here's what we want to do. Read schematics, analyze circuits, program engineering tasks. So you're seeing introduction to electronics, linear circuits, calculus, linear algebra, differential equations, engineering probability and certificate, and statistics. Notice all these are Coursera courses. And so I can just go to Coursera and sign up for these courses. These courses in Coursera, you can do 100% free, or you can pay like $49 for the certificate. Or you can do what some people do is they pay $49 a month, take all the courses you want and get a certificate. That means you take the course, you get assignments, you turn them in, you do the work. You're at your own pace, but you do the work like you would at a university. As a matter of fact, in many cases, universities are moving to the model where they're really nothing but a Coursera. You're paying more money, but you're basically getting um, you're basically getting Coursera, and that seems to be the model that we're rushing toward really fast. I don't necessarily like that, but that's where we are. Uh, so, so notice here we are in the core knowledge and skills. And so we see some tools here, MATLAB, Python, choose one, add the other later. Now, let me just tell you from an engineering perspective, from a faculty member, we're pretty right on here. Now, engineering courses, electrical engineering will differ from university to university, what we're doing. But notice these courses are from, I don't know where all they're from. These are from Georgia Tech right here. But partner universities, it's their actual courses that they're putting online. So here they are, a bunch of courses that you can take to get started. Projects, publish as you go. Let me talk about what that means in just a minute. But build and document a multi-stage op amp sensor. You may not care about that. A couple of tools, write up and LT Spice. This is stuff that we use, and this is real stuff, right? Post each to GitHub pages. Now, we don't always require stuff like this at university. What this is saying is not only are you going to do the work, but you're going to get visibility of the work. And here's some ways to get visibility. Here's the ways to join the community. Some of our faculty members do this, some don't. But it's what you should be doing. Networking as design. So here we see again, some networking opportunities, how to get connected. Even if I'm an engineering student that's going to big name university and I want to be successful in electrical engineering, I want to do these things because you know what? The faculty members might not do it. And if they did do it, it's not very structured. So that gets me to stage one. So we're into 4 months. If you put your head down, get to work. 4 months. Okay. And by the way, the tuition for that, notice that's one, two, three, four, five, six engineering courses. That's at least one semester. If you take out your fluff courses, y'all probably don't like me saying that, but if you take out your fluff courses like English and history and stuff like that, I think those are important, but that's not the issue right now. We can get those from Hillsdale or many other places. We can get those from Coursera. They're all here too. But I'm talking about the hardcore, get me to making some money, get me the hard engineering part, which is the hard part, not the history and the English. This is the hard part. So that's a lot of tuition. That's probably 1 or 2 terms of full-blown tuition plus room and board plus food plus everything else. You do the math at your local university or your university of choice. And by the way, you have spent, you know, probably less than $500, even if you do everything at full-blown level. The intermediate courses, stage two, 4 to 6 months of this activity. Again, you're not killing yourself here. You're just showing up like you would in class. Power electronics, signals and systems, motors and motor controls. Now, let me just tell you, we don't, every university doesn't teach the stuff that you're seeing right here. Universities have ways we specialize, we do things. One of the struggles we're finding at universities now, and it's not just engineering, it's every program, we're dropping content out. We drop content out so we can add stuff in that I might call fluff stuff. This is not my university, this is every university doing that. So we're constantly in the engineering faculty saying, hey, what can we drop out of the curriculum and still have a solid, decent curriculum? Uh, Common conversation. And the choices made are they're similar, but they're different. This is some solid stuff here. This is probably more detailed, complex stuff that you're going to get than you're going to get in a lot of programs. These actually power electronics, digital signal processing, motors and motor control circuits are usually graduate level stuff. Just saying. So you see some courses here. Projects, publish. Again, here's what you do. Here's some projects to build, some actual stuff to build. Notice it's in Python. You may not care about all this kind of stuff, but here's the stuff to do. Pick early income ideas. Pick a small, well-scoped project in Upwork. At this point, ChatGPT is saying, go over to Upwork, a place where professionals, I mean, I don't know what the volume is, but big giant companies, small companies everywhere, we hire people off of Upwork to do work. So we might hire you to, there's a couple of things here. It says now you know how to do some stuff, pick some small jobs and bid for them. In other words, you're in the market, not out there working at Chick-fil-A or Starbucks. You're in the market doing engineering work. You're bidding on engineering work, a skill in itself, and you're watching what's happening. You're just in the market in a different way. So this is some awesome stuff. Notice that there's some internships to apply for. It's basically let's start applying what you know now. Now, we don't usually do that until the juniors and senior years. Some people get involved earlier, but this is awesome because it's getting you involved right away. We're 6 to 8 weeks in. We are, what? No, I'm sorry. We are 6 months. What are we? We are, uh, 12 months. I mean, we may be near a year, but we're starting. And of course, this depends on the student's speed. Many students could knock this out much faster. All right, so advanced and specialized courses. Now, these are really getting into some stuff that's usually you're seeing at graduate level, embedded systems, the semiconductor devices. Uh, I mean, these are undergraduate, all electives, things like that depending on the program, is control systems. You see some projects here, antennas, antenna design. Just a lot of people don't do that. So this is kind of a mixture of what I would say is a little bit undergraduate, a little bit graduate, with a lot of electives and types of stuff like that. Stage four, capstone, and launch. So here's where you're building some stuff. So you do like a senior design project, which is what we most engineering schools do, some kind of senior design where you build something and you demonstrate something. So you're seeing some ideas here, right? And this is just right off the cuff. This is not you talking back to it saying, hey, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in this, which hopefully you do, because hopefully your students will be using tools to like AIs to think about that. It'll be embedded. Graduate assets. You have a portfolio website. Now, this is awesome. This is not a thing to put on your resume that says, I graduated with a degree in engineering from XYZ University. This is, I have GitHub pages, I have my own domain, I have projects to demonstrate. If you're on LinkedIn, this is not mentioning, well, it does say LinkedIn. Um, it does say that. Putting things on LinkedIn, you are highly, highly visible doing these things. And it's not just, I graduated with a degree, it's let me show you what I can do. Much more powerful. That's your portfolio. A lot of people, if you were an art or marketing or some kind of major like that, or a musician, we develop portfolios of our work. We don't always do that in other degrees, and I think we should be. So this is a great way to do this. How to replicate university career services, career counseling. So it's got some things down here, networking, joining IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. So just some awesome stuff here to do. Funding and early outcomes. You see some ways to do some things. Um, Scholarships and grants. If you're going to go after some credit bearing institutions. So accountability here, and it's got how do you get accountability, and it's got application and portfolio playbook, semester by semester plan. There is a nice little plan, and notes on degree and credit pathways optional. Okay, so this is everything. So let me stop the share here for a minute and just give you my critique on this. From the freshman level, it's missing some things. It's missing physics, probably some chemistry, some basic sciences that you would usually find. I say usually, but it's changing. But that should be there in an engineering curriculum. It's missing some of the cross-disciplinary things that we might do in mechanical engineering that we used to do. We're not doing those as much anymore. Actually, what we're seeing now in modern engineering programs is they're very discipline focused and they do less cross-discipline stuff, even though they talk about that a lot. They do less, not because they don't want to, but because the time and pressure. So this needs a little bit to, if I was building this for you, this needs a little bit on the undergraduate type stuff. It needs a little more focus on getting you up to speed. Some of the advanced stuff that it has in here is really, you don't really need it. Um, I mean, there's stuff there like antenna design. Many people will never need that. So it probably should be courses in electromagnetics, some more encompassing type things that are kind of to the physics level that needs to be in there. But these are tweaks that it would have. This is a one-shot deal that's given me this. So here's what I would say is if you are a student doing this, the curriculum, the plan itself is pretty good. I mean, you're not going to go wrong. If you just jumped in and did this, you're in great shape. You can do some stuff. You can learn some stuff. You have the ability to learn, and you can go forward and prosper. It's going to be a win. It's not the way I would do it, but it probably works really well. So again, you're getting my personal bias. If I had another electrical engineer and on me here talking, we might debate some of these issues. So point being, you're in the game. This is a good thing. If I was going to, it'd be advising somebody, that's what I would do is, hey, I wouldn't just say, hey, let's go pick it. Hey, go take something from big university. I'd say, hey, let's tweak the ChatGPT a little bit and let's ask some more detailed questions. Hey, I'm not good in physics. How do I get up to speed and those kind of things? And it will do all that for us, right? It's happy. It will work for free, or $20 a month. I'm on a $20 a month plan here. So we also some of the work type stuff, some of the visibility type stuff. I think it could do more than what I'm seeing here. I mean, what it's got here is if you did what I just showed to you, and you are probably more skilled than most of the electrical engineering graduates in the entire world. And that's that's just I think the facts. You got a lot more stuff here. Um, and that's because a lot of students just show up at universities, they kind of do the bare minimum, they get through, and so you've got that. And so they're just hanging on by the skin of their teeth a lot of times. In terms of networking, you're blowing it away. In terms of getting out there in the business world, you're blowing it away. And that's more important than the courses in engineering because that's what we're hiring for. We're hiring people that are in the network that are talking. There's a lot of highly skilled people that are graduating colleges that are heads down. They're in the books. They really know their stuff. They have learned and learned well, and they can't get a job because they don't know how to do the other stuff, such as networking and demonstrate their skills to the world. And of course, there are people who are professionals who are very good at their job, who can get a job for the same reasons. So, because there's lots of work out there, there's tons and tons of work. So this is really a solid plan. I like it. I would tweak it. But you know what? You're just talking about one faculty member's opinion. So that's what I learned. I did one on accounting. I won't show it to you today, but I did the same thing for accounting. I will give you the script, and all you have to do with the script is say, now create me a degree in accounting, and it will do all the same stuff. Pick any major. Uh, so what I'm looking at here is this is real stuff. This is if you are a university professor or university administrator and you're watching this, yeah, this is a serious threat to your business. And the only thing that's holding this back right now from being a bigger threat is our culture is so stuck about sending kids to college. and our kids maybe are like, I'm gonna go to college. And let's face it, some of that's about football and parties and stuff like that. Uh, I could build into this script. How do I get all the other experiences I get at college, like the camaraderie and the uh, the fun stuff? I bet there's ways to do that that's without showing up at college or showing up in a different way. Just saying. So, I mean, how many people do we see going to football, basketball, or other kind of games and very involved in the community of sport, of colleges and athletics that have never gone to those universities? Tons of people. So, but that's another thing. Now, why does this matter? So a lot of people I'm talking to here, you're probably homeschoolers, uh, and what I am noticing in the market with homeschoolers, with public schoolers, with private schoolers, with anybody, especially in the United States, is is there's a lot of people saying, why? Why am I having to write this big tuition bill? They do anyway. They write the checks to the big fat universities or the small ones. It doesn't matter. We're writing checks to universities, even though we're questioning. I have had friends, associates that say I'm sending Johnny to X and X college. I'm not sure they're really learning anything that valuable, but this is what we're doing. And the reason is because they feel like they don't have any alternative. Or we feel like there is no other way but to get on the treadmill and ride what society is doing. As homeschool parents, we struggle with that. As public private school parents, we struggle with that. And but I'm seeing that change. No matter who you are, I'm seeing that change. We see people like Elon Musk and Tim Cook and many other people that represent leading, bleeding edge technology companies talking about they don't value college degrees. So these aren't people, loading hay bales that's fairly non-tech stuff. These are people doing extremely technical work that don't value what universities are doing. So I think across the board, we see that big, established, more stodgy, stuck in their way companies, and that's not a judgment. I mean, that's just companies have their processes and they don't want to veer off their processes. This works, right? And many of them are like hiring college graduates gets us a filter. That's really what they're doing. It's a filter. And so there's some value to that, right? So I know a lot of companies, that's how they do things, that's how they want to do things. And to think about doing it a different way means they got to stop and think about it, right? So it's resistance. So it, but we're seeing a change. I'm seeing a change from companies, from corporate leadership. I am seeing a change from um, the university models where we are actually in the universities. I see we are racing to the bottom, not to the bottom of price. Let's not kid ourselves. We are racing to the bottom of quality. Um, Now, people may not like that, but that's just what's happening. We are trying to look like everybody else. We're competing against everybody else, and so there is a race to the bottom in terms of quality of education. Because you know what? That's not what people show up at the universities for anymore. They're not there to be educated for the most part. So, all right. So in this, we still value. So some people have told me, I'm not valuing education that because one of the things that we hear is that, okay, if I'm not going to college, there's trade jobs, there's military, there's all these other alternatives, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about competing one for one with those who are graduating universities and paying 100,000 plus for their degrees, dead on 100% competing. You'll beat them to the market. They're going to be there in 4 years, 5 years. You'll be there faster. You'll be to their market in 1 year and 2 years and be fully educated and fully ready, and you'll already be ahead of them. That's what I'm talking about here, competing head to head with those that are going to college. And can you do it? Yes. Have I seen people do it? Yes. Successfully, very much yes. So we're not anti-education here. we still sell courses in algebra, geometry, algebra 2 and trig and calculus. Do we still believe those are important? Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're going down these fields that we're talking about. If you're going into computer science, even if you're going into business, just understanding the mathematics behind it, algebra 2 and trig. Yes, but to get the rest of it, do you do you need to show up at university? No, you just don't. So this is some things here that you want to do. If you want to prepare your team for a future that never stops, and this is one of the big things that's the big point of education is to never stop learning. And we have so many tools at our fingertips now that keep us learning constantly. And that's what we want you to just see. We want you to see the availability. What we are going to do is we're going to put in the link below, we will put the ChatGPT script you can go to ChatGPT. We'll put a link to ChatGPT. You can go to ChatGPT. You can put this script in and you can just play with this yourself, ask more questions, ask more details of it, just type it in and see what you get. This is free, right? There's nothing, ChatGPT does not have to cost you money. Right now, it is free. Gemini, another tool, I think is still free. They're not all free, but they're not much money. They're cheaper than college. All right, so that's good for today. So we'll send this to you. I mean, this will be down in the links. And if we can help, if you will shoot us an email at support@askdrcallahan.com. Also, if you will give us a like, thumbs up, give us any feedback. We're here to put stuff out to help you and to help you and your students grow. Talk to you next time.